So I tell my grandchildren, tell them you're Arnold Palmer's grandfather's Arnold Palmer's dentist. They don't do it.
If you took money from the dude, you beat him. What are we talking about?
Couldn't sleep all week.
Oh, no. How could you?
So there's none of that in the world but me and Arnie's teeth and the gold.
That was not what I was expecting. I'll be honest with you.
It was a good show.
We got to stick together, Mike. We got to stick together.
That's right. Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Stick and Hack Show, a sophisticated and brilliant look into the world of golf from a stick and a hack. Now, your hosts, Mike Ryan and Adam Grubb.
All right, everybody, welcome in. This is the Stick and Hack Show. I'm your host, Adam Grubb, the hack. That's Mike Ryan, the stick right there. Mike, this is quite possibly the greatest golf show in the free world, presented by the greatest golf club in the world without the course, Stick and Hack. And there is nothing more thrilling for me, for you, than to have our guest today. It is one of those, we've talked a lot in the past shows, Mike, about how close you are to golf in the 6 degrees of separation. We are as close to greatness here as we possibly could be with our guest today. Now we had Gary Player on the show last year. We are working on Jack. This really will complete that trifecta for us, as close as we can get in 2022. Arnold Palmer's closest, dearest friend and lifelong dentist and golfer and photographer, author, Howdy Giles is on the program today. Mike, I mean, what else do you say?
There's nothing else to say. Just let it happen and get out of the way.
And I want to remind everyone you're listening to the Stick and Hack Show, just to put it in perspective. Right. So Howdy's going to be on the show here in just a couple minutes, and we're super excited for him. If you don't know of his story, it's remarkable. His life is remarkable, and his closeness and his friendship with Arnie from the 60s on. The stories, the photos, the memories. It's going to be a great conversation. He wrote a book called The King and I, and I read it. He was happy. We were blessed enough to have it sent to us, and I read it this week. Incredible stories, but also just incredible memories. And to have I have you as a friend, for God's sake. That's where we're at, right? He had Arnie Palmer. What the hell? All right, so
that's not even close. I mean, that's
I couldn't agree more. And friends is loose. That's a loose description of us. All right, so first up here on the show, Mike, we talk about dentist and sports. Okay.
Yep.
Dentist and sports, which you wouldn't think would have anything to do with each other, but they do. Dr. Wendy Havanal, I don't know, British racing cyclist and dentist from Northern Ireland. She's represented Great Britain in the 2012 and 2008 Olympic Games. She won the silver at the 2008 Beijing Games and gold in the team pursuit in 08, 09, and 11 track world championships. She's contemplating a full retirement from cycling, returning to her home in Cornwall, England, and return to dentistry. She served as a dentist in the Royal Air Force. Bill Linkadis, from 1968 to 1981, Bill led a double life. He was a lineman for the New England Patriots. It was in the off-season football that he earned his dental degree from the University of Tennessee. After graduating in 1973, he spent his days off from dental practice by working out on the football field with the Patriots. Elaine Lim, first female table tennis international umpire. Mike, which I think you probably knew. I had to dig deep for this, to be honest with you.
You were digging real deep.
I was on the dark web for this info. Elaine Lim is the first female table tennis international umpire at the Tokyo Olympics. She became a state table tennis umpire at 15 years of age and an international one at 21. And that wasn't enough. She didn't want to be a full-time player. She wanted to focus on her studies and helped her obtain her BDS degree from the University of Malaya in 2012. She is now a PhD scholar at University of Malaya with a keen interest in implant dentistry. She's a table tennis umpire by day. No, that's not true. A dentist by day.
Yeah, there you go.
Table tennis umpire by night. I don't know a lot of night dentists. And if you have a night dentist, you don't want to go to
there might be a market for that. I don't know.
What are you studying? Night dentistry.
Night dentistry.
All right, John Brayler. John Brayler became the world's first professional football player after joining the United States' first formal football team in 1895. He was reluctant to join, but was convinced to play as a quarterback at a fee of $10 per game, making him the world's first paid football player. After finishing his career in 1907, he went on to what, Mike?
Practice dentistry?
Practice dentistry.
Oh, perfect.
Look what I did there. Now, why are we talking about that? Where our guest today, Mike, is a dentist. Now, why would the Stick and Hack Show have a dentist on the program? He happened to be the dentist of one of the most famous golfers of all time. And more importantly, his friend, Arnold Palmer. And more than that, he was a photographer. He was his sidekick, and he lived the life next to Arnie for many, many years. We welcome into the Stick and Hack Show, Mr. Howdy Giles. Howdy, it is great to see you. Thank you for joining us here on the Stick and Hack Show.
Thank you for inviting me to your show, guys. This is awesome.
It is awesome for us. And I want to point out the similarities in hats, first and foremost, between Mike Ryan, who got his from a knockoff Foot Locker store on the south side, and yours, which I assume is one of the many pieces of memorabilia that you have with your life with Arnie.
Absolutely. My kids went to Wake Forest, so the Wake Forest thing's on the side here.
Perfect. Fantastic. So Howdy, let's talk about the story of how you became Arnie's dentist, because it sounds almost like a premise to a Seinfeld episode. Arnie's dentist at the time told you that when he passes away, you can have Arnie as a patient. And then a year later, he passed away. Is that
That's right.
true?
It's true. So Arnie called me in the office on a Monday. He said, "Howdy, I have not had my teeth checked in a year, and don't do anything special for me. However, I might be able to come in next Monday." So I said to my secretary, "Cancel next Monday, put those patients in Wednesday, my day off, and Arnie might come." So he called on Friday night. We had house guests for dinner. Phone rings at 10 o'clock at night. My wife answers the phone, and she doesn't say, "Hey, Arnie, how you doing?" She says, "Well, are you coming?" He said, "Yes, I am." Put Howdy on. So I got on the phone. He said, "I haven't been to Wilmington Country Club since 1966 with Jack Nicklaus in an exhibition. So why don't I fly in Sunday morning, get a couple of buddies, we'll play golf, and then check my teeth on Monday." Couldn't sleep all week.
Oh no! How could you?
Yeah.
How could you? So I read in the research, I read that your tea time was in the afternoon, and that you got up at like 6 a.m. and were ready to rock and roll by 8 for a 3 o'clock tea time.
That's right. 1 o'clock tea time. It's true.
Yeah, it's like my dad getting to the airport. I mean, he's got a 2 o'clock flight. The dude's there at 9 a.m. for no apparent reason. I can assume that it was similar to that the excitement. That's Christmas morning for you, right?
Absolutely. Santa Claus came to town.
Unbelievable. Howdy.
It is.
Expanding on that, tell us the story. I know you've told the story 10,000 times probably, but from there, after becoming his dentist, what was the unlikely friendship that you guys developed and that pairing? How did that come about?
Everybody asks me that question, but anyway, one great story I got to
Good
tell you.
question, Mike. Good question.
Arnie, we've been going to the Masters since 1968. We got tickets. I was a lieutenant in the Navy, a dentist on a submarine tender in New London, Connecticut. Got tickets to the Masters. So anyway, we follow Arnie. And then just kept going from there and met his buddies. So I joined Latrobe. I joined Bay Hill in 1973. Got to know Arnie really well then. Got to know his dentist. Benny Tack was his name. In 75, Arnie says, "You come all the way down from Delaware to Bay Hill. Why don't you join Latrobe?" I said, "Well, how do I get in?" He said, "You know me, you're in." So I joined Latrobe, and it just kept snowballing. And in 86, Arnie says, "Howdy, why don't you and Carolyn fly to Augusta with me?" So I said to my wife, "Arnie wants us to fly to Augusta with him to the Masters." She said, "No, I'll drive, you fly with Arnie." So I flew with Arnie. And we did it every year until 04.
Just when you think it can't get any better.
It doesn't get any better. Amen.
My God.
I wouldn't have been able to sleep after that either.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, it's showcased that, I don't take a lot of pictures of my friends, right? But a lot of my friends aren't pro golfers, and a lot of my friends weren't the top 3 golfers in the world.
Like none.
At what
None of your
point? Shut up, Mike. It's enough. Okay. At what point did you say to yourself, "I'm next to greatness here, and I want to capture this"? And did you always have a love for photography, or was it just, hey, I'm going to snap a photo of you getting on the plane, and I'm going to snap a photo of you at the course? How did your collection of photography and then becoming his unofficial photographer, how did that come about?
Well, I started taking photos when I was in the Navy on the ship. I got very good rates on my cameras from Japan to the ship, and I just started taking a lot of photos back in 1967, 68, 69. So I figured, well, I'm going to the Masters, I'll take pictures of Arnie. He's my idol. And took all these photos, and then in my office, there was a restaurant in Augusta that would show a slideshow of the players that are playing at Augusta. So I thought, I'll do that in my office. So anyway, the patients are in my reception room, and they're waiting, and there's pictures of Arnold Palmer up on the wall. So Arnie says, I got to get to know this guy. So that's where it kept going from there. I say I have 300,000 photos of Arnie, but I have a lot of them.
Howdy Giles is the guest here on the Stick and Hack Show. I want to ask you this. How do you feel looking back at those photos and memories? Because most people don't have that ability to have a chronicled friendship from 30, 40 years and then put it into a book. But when you go back and you were putting that together, the book, The King and I, what were the thoughts, and what were the emotions that were conjured up looking at you and your buddy Arnie?
That's a great question, Adam, but I just went by years to do the book. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000. And it's sort of neat. They used my famous Arnold Palmer photo with his red shirt for the Congressional Gold Medal, which was really cool.
That's amazing. Howdy, I'm going to throw a date out there based on our research. May 27th, 1976. That was the first time you played golf with Arnie. The first time you played with him, you actually beat Arnie, correct?
No, I did not beat him. What I did was I did a movie of it. So I did match play with Arnie and I've taken my handicap, and I won $10 from Arnie.
Oh, so you did win.
Yeah.
I mean,
Adam counts those as wins. He's
100%.
His match play, me against Arnie.
Doesn't matter what kind of play it was. If you took money from the dude, you beat him. What are we talking about? So for anytime anybody asks you that moving forward, the answer is hell yeah, I beat him. Absolutely. Right? So
I looked at this video and I put it all together.
There's a handicap for a reason, Mike, right? There's a handicap for a reason. If you take $1 off somebody for any reason, whether it's the closest to the pin or not, you beat them. And as a hack, you got to take every advantage you can get.
That's such a hack answer.
Howdy Giles is the guest with us here on the Stick and Hack Show, lifelong friend of Arnie Palmer, dentist and photographer, as well as author, The King and I, which is it's a phenomenal book. It really is, and it's so easy to read because when you think of the story is told in the pictures, the story is told in the emotion that you see, and the story is told throughout his career of where he was and from golf, but then the things that we always hear about him were his kindness and his love, his love for his wife, but also his love for his friends. And as he got older, did you see a progression of Arnie that you hadn't seen in the 60s and 70s when he was playing competitive golf, and now he's just a person, he's a celebrity, he's a businessman, he's so many other things. Where in your memory did Arnie move from professional golfer to one of the nicest ambassadors to the game that we have?
An example is at Bay Hill, Valentine's Day, he went around to every table and thanked him for coming. The guy never changed his personality. He was just total class, and that's what he did to everybody. And he'd say hello to somebody, say, I'm Arnold Palmer. Yeah, all right, okay. He was amazing. Great personality.
Now, the friendship you guys have, and this is talked about all the time in golf, and Mike and I are here. Most of our friends, and Mike and I are here on this show because of golf, right? A lot of my friends, a lot of Mike's friends, we have our group of friends have been bridged because of golf. Why does this silly game of chasing a ball around and being frustrated and pissed off and in some cases some of the worst game imaginable, why does that bridge people together in lifelong friendships, in your opinion?
Well, let me go back this way. If you play with a jerk, you're not going to play with him anymore. You play golf to meet friends and be friendly and have a ball, have a drink after you play golf, but you don't play with jerks. So.
Howdy, tell us, and again, our research tells us that you have quite the memorabilia collection, which is said to be one of the most extensive in the world. Is there anything you don't have that's Arnold Palmer related?
I have one thing. You had started with Dennis in the beginning. Arnie wanted all the gold taken out of his teeth and put porcelain in. So I changed everything from gold to white, and he loved that. I took the gold from Arnie's teeth and made a gold ball marker from it. Arnold Palmer had a pin on. I made a pin like that, and I made one for Arnie as well.
That's incredible.
So there's none of that in the world but me and Arnie's teeth and the gold.
That was not what I was expecting.
Unbelievable.
I'll be honest with you. That was not the answer I was expecting. But yeah, it is a museum at your place, and
my home is a putting green in the basement and all Arnold Palmer memorabilia. And Winnie Palmer knew we were doing this, so she gave us a beautiful picture of Arnie and Tip Anderson at the British Open. That's one of my mainstays in the basement.
Does it bother you? And I'm sure it doesn't. I don't know how it could, but perhaps that your legacy and your life is in some parts it's Arnie and Howdy. I mean, does that get frustrating to you, or is that something that you wear like a badge on your sleeve? Like, yeah, that was my boy. Like we had an incredible life together. Or at some point you go, hey, I also have other things I do, and there's other things about me as a person. Does it ever get to you?
For example, I introduced myself to Reggie Jackson. I was with Arnold Palmer in Latrobe. We were flying from Latrobe to L.A., but we stopped in Minnesota to do a commercial. Arnie was doing a commercial for Toro. I got off the team bus to the hotel to meet my wife and Arnie and Winnie. We're going to fly to L.A. As I'm getting off the bus, there's Reggie Jackson. I said, Reggie, my name's Howdy Giles. I'm Arnold Palmer's dentist. He goes, who's this jerk? He said, are you really? I said, I am. Then he's telling me Arnold Palmer stories. So he told my grandchildren, tell me your Arnold Palmer's grandfather, Arnold Palmer's dentist. They look good. Sorry.
So the friendship, obviously, you watched his career and going to the Masters and seeing the Arnie's Army. You got an idea, and then you watched that grow. You watched his entire persona be built over 20 to 30 years. But to him, or to you, he was just Arnie. He was just your buddy.
That's it.
Right?
He's just Arnie. He's just Arnie.
How does that even compute? I can't even fathom.
A lot of his friends will call him Arnold. Winnie called him Arnie, and I called him Arnie. So he's my buddy. I didn't want anything from him. I just wanted to be his buddy.
Yeah, and I think he probably knew that too, which is why you were flying with him in his private jet to the Masters. Because
Right.
if my buddy had a private jet and was going to the Masters, you can be damn sure I'm going to be saying, "Hey, get me on that plane, Chief." Okay, I don't care. I don't care if we're not going to go to dinner. You're going to take me to the Masters. You're a better man than I. Mike, is that how you would react, or are you more in the Howdy camp there of, hey, he's just a friend? How would you even react if your buddy had that?
Well, I mean, I definitely would be in the Howdy camp, if nothing else, just to hang out with Howdy.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
I think it's one of those things. We kind of talked about it a minute ago. Is just, you become friends with folks through golf, and that's enough. It's just being friends because of golf. And I have so many friends that, it's just because of golf, and we'll probably be lifelong friends just because of that, and that's all.
Yeah.
That's good enough. So.
This is a ridiculous question, but producer Shane wanted me to ask it. How good was Arnold on the course in his prime? How fun was it to watch him play, and how different do you think the play was then to what it is today?
The shots that he hit, I mean, he'd be in trouble. Just Phil Mickelson's in trouble, and they'd get out of it. And to watch him play was magical. Totally magical to watch Arnie play. And the fans loved him.
They did.
All of them.
You're a member of 6 golf clubs, including Pine Valley and the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews. You're one of only 1,000 members of the RNA worldwide. For some, that might be more impressive than your friendship with Arnold Palmer. Do you still play golf? Do you still get out there? And
yeah,
are
I'm
you getting
at Bay Hill right
from
now.
all these places that you're a member of and not hitting the minimums?
I'm at Bay Hill, and Arnold Palmer helped me get me in the RNA, which was very cool. To get in the RNA, I was a member of Pine Valley, and another friend said, Howdy, you go on one level, you got to go one more level, and that's the RNA. I said, my wife will kill me. He said, you know Arnie, and get in. So I got in.
Was it that
That is
simple?
the ultimate stick move. in my
That is.
opinion.
That is the ultimate stick move. I mean, and listen to how he told that, Mike. It was so matter of fact.
Yeah.
it was so ho-hum.
Yeah, I got in.
Yeah, and then I got into the RNA. Just no big whoop, no big deal.
I love it.
Now
You guys are great.
You're at Bay Hill. What are some of your favorite courses you played? What are some of the your all-time golf destinations that you love? And you would go back
Cypress
to?
Point is special. Cypress Point's really special. I played Augusta several times, which is cool. I never played there with Arnie, but Augusta's cool.
Yeah, Augusta is cool.
Yeah.
How do you, here?
I love you, Howdy.
The way you're saying things is so impressive. This is
cool.
how you are. This is how you feel, right? Yeah, it's good.
Right.
Augusta is
Howdy
cool.
and I think Howdy and I might be the same person.
I think you might be without all the accolades and
Yes, I have
admiration.
zero of the
and
accolades. I
friendship.
didn't know Arnie.
Right.
None of
Right.
it. But
But other
personality-wise,
than that-
I feel like we were the same person.
Just because you put on the same hat, Mike, doesn't mean that you're the same person. All right.
I'm
I put on my hat because Mike had it
see,
on.
there we go.
I think what Mike is.
And without a hat.
There you go. Well, I think what Mike is intimating there is that the ho hum nature of these things happening. Because if these things happen to me, well, not only would I write a book, but I'd be in the middle of Times Square letting everyone know what's going on. Right? I would be
Right.
at the top of the mountain shouting it. And if somebody said, "Hey, how is Augusta?" I would have a 20-minute dissertation about that course. Mike, on the other hand, and now you say the same thing. Yes, that's good. It's cool, right? When I told Mike that we booked Gary Player on the show, Mike goes, "Oh, that'll be a good show." That's right. What are we talking about? We're talking about Gary Player. What the hell?
I was right. It was. It was a good
You were
show.
right. You were right.
We got to stick together, Mike. We got to stick
Right,
together.
Absolutely.
Howdy Giles is the guest here on Stick and Hack Show, lifelong friend of Arnold Palmer, his dentist, photographer, author of King and I. We are honored to have you on the show, sir. And just because you are royalty, golf royalty, and a member of the RNA doesn't mean that you can't get away from the game at the end of the show. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to play in or out. We'll give you the category in a second. Howdy Giles, the guest. Stick and Hack Show. We'll be right back.
Need some gear to rep your favorite golf brand? Visit the Stick and Hack shop to explore our curated collection of exclusive merchandise. With a variety of styles of hats, shirts, and outerwear, we've got something for every golfer. Plus, shop our unique assortment of accessories, including putter covers, foam caddies, and more. Be sure to fill out our weekly cash grab survey to get a chance to win $25 to use at the shop. Visit the Stick and Hack shop today to get what you need to look your best on and off the course.
All right, we're back here on the Stick and Hack Show. I'm Adam Grubb, the Hack. That's Mike Ryan, the Stick, and we're here with Howdy Giles of the I guess you would call the golf royalty. Friend of Arnie Palmer's. He's a photographer. He is he's an author. He's a dentist. He's one of the nicest men so far that I've run across in the golf circles, and as dampened excitement as you could be about some of the most amazing stories that you would ever hear. He rivals that of one Mike Ryan. Nonetheless, Howdy is on the program. Howdy, all right, so here's the game, all right? Now, I know you've been listening to the show, binging the show for the last several weeks, trying to get ready for this. So you know that we play a game at the end. Every guest has to go through it. This game is called In or Out. So of the three of us, we have an extra spot for our foursome. And so we are going to say, are they in or out of our magical foursome here of Howdy, Mike, and myself, okay? And the category here is Friends Guest Stars. So the popular television show Friends, which I can assume you watch on Netflix still to this day, yes?
Yep.
So Friends Guest Stars, all right? And because you and Arnie were friends, that's where we came up with that. Very
He's
clever.
really straight. He's stretching for this stuff, Howdy.
I'm not stretching. That makes perfect sense. Friends Guest Stars. All right. So in or out of our foursome. And we'll start with you, Howdy. We'll go to Mike and then myself. Friends Guest Stars, Sean Penn. in or out?
Out.
Mike?
Yeah, I'm out on Sean Penn.
Out as well. I would have been in early Sean Penn. Late Sean Penn's a little too political and activist for me. Why don't you just
He
relax,
is.
John? Why don't you
Very
calm
political.
down?
Yeah.
George Clooney.
In.
Yeah, George Clooney's in for me.
In. I don't want ER George Clooney. I want what's the one movie he was in, the Coen Brothers movie? Doesn't matter. George Clooney's in. Yeah.
Don't even know.
What is it, Producer Shane? Oh, brother, we're out there. Thank you.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the Oh Brother, we're out there.
That one?
I want that.
That's a
That
stretch.
George Clooney.
That's a stretch.
Alec Baldwin, in or out?
Out.
Careful, Mike.
For golf, I'm out.
Too political.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
golf, I'm out. There was a time
think-
maybe, but
Alec Baldwin is out. His temper, I think, would get the best
Yeah.
of him on the course
Yes.
early.
yes.
Helen Hunt, in or out?
Don't really know.
Yeah.
Her.
Exactly.
Yeah,
She was
I like
mad,
her as an
mad about
actress,
you.
Probably not to play golf though.
She was mad about you. She was in Twister.
Yeah.
The worst.
Right.
Out. Danny DeVito.
In.
Yeah, Danny DeVito's in for me, sure.
He's like
In.
a fun guy to be with.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Danny DeVito, in or out, and that's a trifecta of yeses. Danny DeVito is in.
Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Handsome Brad Pitt, in or out?
In.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's in for me, sure, for sure.
And Brad Pitt is in for me as well. Charlie Sheen. These are Friends guest stars, in or out? Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, I don't know on that one. Out.
Yeah, I think Charlie Sheen's out for me.
Charlie Sheen's in for me.
I knew you
There is nothing I want to do more in life
I don't know,
than play
man.
18 holes of golf with Charlie Sheen. And after every hole that he beats me, which inevitably he will say, winning, and it'll be glorious.
I feel like it would be dependent on what level of sobriety he's at.
Well, isn't that
I'd want him in the
isn't that the way it is with anybody, Mike? Isn't that the way it is with
Possible.
anybody?
Well, he tends to his ups and downs. I feel like they're a little more extreme than most.
In or out with Howdy Giles here. This is Friends guest stars, Paul Rudd.
Don't know Paul that well.
Paul Rudd's in for me.
Paul Rudd is in.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd is. I think you and him would get along great, Howdy. You guys should hook up. Well,
Yeah,
maybe
he's-
we will. We'll do this fantasy foursome
There you
here.
go.
Paul,
You
Paul
do it.
Rudd is in. Dude never ages either. It's unbelievable.
He does not.
In or out, Friends guest stars, Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I like Bruce.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in. I'm a little bit on the fence on that one, but I think I'm in.
Really?
Yeah.
He's John McClane.
I know, but he always seems so like brooding and like he's like annoyed with life.
Yeah, right. I think he'd be incredible for a couple holes, maybe. But yeah, I'm going to say in for Bruce
I'm gonna
Willis.
say in.
Right. Last one here, in or out of our fantasy foursome with Howdy Giles, Mike Ryan, and Adam Grubb. Friends guest stars, Ben Stiller.
He could be fun to be with.
Yeah, I'm, gonna
I'm
go
more
in.
into fun golf and
So you're in. You're in for Ben.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in with Ben Stiller.
All right. I think in today, I was not a fan of young Ben Stiller, which I know is probably soul crushing to him. But young Ben Stiller didn't do much for me. I didn't think he was very funny. But today, I think he's got I think he'd have some good stories. So I'm going to say in for Ben Stiller.
You'd be in on Jerry Stiller for sure.
I would be in for Jerry Stiller. I'd be in for Jerry Springer as long as we're doing that game. That's it for us here at the Stick and Hack Show. Howdy Giles is the guest. Howdy, you were incredible, sir. I can assume that was the most fun you've had all week and perhaps all year, and that's good to
Absolutely.
hear. Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's early in the year.
It is early in the year. Go get Howdy's book, The King and I. It is a magical journey of an incredible friendship, an incredible career of Arnie Palmer, and to see you at your age playing golf and having the memories that you have, having the stories that you have. I bet that every dinner party you are the center of attention, as you should be, and I'm sure you hate it. But I am really appreciative of you being on the program today, and good luck the rest of this year. And hopefully, maybe Howdy, if we can get down there and you have the same power that Arnie had, you can get Mike and I on Bay Hill, and we can play some golf. Huh? How's that
Get
sound?
you guys to Bay Hill. You're my twosome, and I'll get you one more.
Outstanding. All right. Well, this is the greatest golf show in the world, possibly, presented by the greatest golf club in the world without the course. It's Stick and Hack. He's Howdy Giles. Mike, thank you, sir. Great show. Appreciate it. Best of luck to you and Godspeed.
Peace out, guys.
Okay, we're done. This has been the Stick and Hack Show. Go to stickandhack.com to become a free member of the world's greatest golf club without the course.